I've been in this business for 19 years. In fact, in June it'll be 20 years, which makes me ancient in this business. During that time, yeah, it's true, because most of these investors I see, they got into it during the bubble.
Sure.
Or they left right after the bubble. So, very few people have still stuck around. Now, during that time, I've been involved in over 700 transactions of different kinds. I've wholesaled. I've done rehabs. I used to buy and broker notes for a while. I've done residential. I've done commercial lending. And for the last 7 years now, I've been a private lender to investors and wholesalers in the buy, fix, and sell business. Okay? Now, I want to share with you something very smart that a gentleman by the name of Confucius says. And what he said was, this is, man who chases many chickens catches none. The reason I mention this is because a lot of people, every night you hear different webinars on different subjects and short sales and this and that. And really, there are 100 different ways to make money in real estate. I'm going to show you why dealing with REOs is by far the best way, and why I think you should probably consider focusing strictly on REOs. Now, you definitely want to focus on one strategy. What you don't want to do is, do a short sale here, try to do a foreclosure there, do a loan mod, and do all these things and end up failing at all of them, not making money at all of them. What you do is concentrate on one thing, make some money for you, and get really, really good at it. Once you have a cash cow, you know what? You can do anything you want. You can stay in the business, do something else, or go on vacation. Now, what is the best strategy? Look, it's no secret. I'm talking about buying or flipping REOs, okay? Now, when I say buying, I also mean there's a lot of you out there who are basically rehabbers, and you want to buy properties, fix them up, and sell them. Well, folks, the best deals you're going to get are REOs. And, of course, when I mean an REO, I also mean a bank-owned property. Now, I want to cover here 2 seconds here real quick, because there are a couple of people that asked, a little bit more about REOs, and I'm just going to cover it very briefly. I promise I'll get into the nitty-gritty shortly. Basically, an REO is when a homeowner fails to pay their mortgage payment, okay, the bank files what's called a foreclosure suit. That's what you hear on the news, that, so many people in foreclosure, they're going to lose their home. That's what they're talking about. Now, eventually, through the foreclosure process, unless the owner pays off the mortgage or sells it, which you can't really do, then the property goes through foreclosure and it gets transferred back to the bank. At that point, the bank now owns the property, and it calls it an REO. That's an internal term calling real estate owned. Okay. Now, here's where the tremendous opportunity is right now, especially in the months that we're talking about. Here's some quick information about RealtyTrack.com. If you ever hear like CNN or the Wall Street Journal, whenever they quote any statistics, they're quoting RealtyTrack.com. And now, just the latest stats that were out for February, they were up 30% from a year ago. Okay. Now, in 2008, there were 2.3 million properties in foreclosure. So even if the government now decides to buy all these toxic access and stuff and all these things that Mike was talking about, there's still 2.3 million in the pipeline that need to be dealt with. Now, quickly, what do you think is going to happen to 99% of those foreclosures? Well, absolutely, they're going to become REOs. There's just nothing else that can happen to them. So what does happen to all these REO properties? Here's the good news, folks. Banks, they can't keep them. They can't keep them. They can't rent them out. They are legally obligated to sell them. And that's not going to change anytime soon. You're not going to see banks as landlords. Okay? So what happens is banks are the ultimate motivated seller. That's why I was telling you why, if you're going to be buying property, banks are the way to go. First of all, if you ever bought from an individual seller, you know that oftentimes, or if you bought a probate, you know that oftentimes a seller is emotionally attached to a property. They grew up there, or they just, don't want to sell it at the price you need to buy it at. Now, the banks can sell at a lower price because there's no mortgage on there. There's a lot of sellers out there that would love to just give you their property, but there's nothing there. The mortgage is more than the property's worth. So even if they could sell it to you at what they wanted to, they can't. So the banks, sooner or later, they have to sell. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So that's what I call the ultimate motivated seller. Now, let's assume that you understand all that, okay? Now, the question is this. There are many ideas and many concepts about wholesaling and buying REOs that are simply wrong. I'm going to cover them, and as I cover them, I'm going to give you the answers to the questions that we got, okay?